All right, first up, Chief.
Okay, actually, just to kind of sort of give you an update on New Year's Eve, since it was so quiet around everybody's neighborhood. So just I know you guys don't like stats, but this one's actually kind of interesting. Is between December 1st and January 2nd, there were about 1,800 fireworks-related calls to 911. 5 people were arrested and 54 citations were issued. And narcotics vice officers seized a total of 6,600 pounds, or approximately 6,600 pounds of illegal fireworks with an estimated street value of $298,000. And in one single seizure, our regional patrol units actually picked up 1,800 pounds that was in the back of a U-Haul. I'm not sure if you can see
1,800 pounds?
Can you make it big?
That is.
Yeah. So the officer, God bless him, blue light on and everything, couldn't be more visible, drove up, and there's the van right there with the door wide open with all the fireworks in the back, and he was lighting an aerial at the same time. So, what can I tell you?
It could have been part of the Darwin Awards.
Yeah. So as you can see, there is a problem with how do we avoid them being shipped into the island. So, and if people think that they're not around, they're everywhere.
It's not by air.
By freight, it's by
Oh
freight,
my
by
God.
boat.
Usually, yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, so what I was telling
Amazing.
Commissioner Chang is that they start bringing them in relatively early because they know that, October, November, there might be stepped up patrol. So they start bringing them in throughout the year, so that they can start amassing all their firepower.
Dogs can pick that up, right?
I'm not sure that they
dogs
can.
that
They
do.
do.
Yeah.
Been curious for years. In Manoa, as I'm sure everywhere else, we hear detonations that sound like major ordnance.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound like the sort of thing that's sold commercially. Do you know what that is?
Well, it could be. There are what they call the cherry bombs, but they have these homemade ones. They take acetylene gas, I believe, and then they fill it up like in a can. Then they light it, and that's what's shaking your house. So it basically it's a homemade bomb.
I remember cherry bombs from childhood.
Yeah.
And
M80s.
They pale by comparison
Yeah,
to these.
that's what these are. Is usually acetylene gas that they fill up with, a can or a container, and then they throw, something to start it, and it just boom, and it just goes, just goes everywhere, and it just shakes the house. So, and I know there were several injuries. Some, a couple over here, and some on the Big Island, where I guess the illegal fireworks went off in their hands, and they lost fingers and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You said you had a whole bunch of arrests.
Yes.
You folks have to see them actually light it to do that. So
Yes.
how did they were able to get up close? Do you have a special unit doing that, or going around kind of checking the normal neighborhoods that get those illegal fireworks?
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes, they're so busy lighting their fireworks that they really, like the guy who had the U-Haul truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, too, I mean, and if a citizen films somebody with their camera, and submits it to us, as long as they're willing to testify in court, then we can also make an arrest based on that. Unfortunately,
okay.
most of the time when people go, well, look here, I showed it to you, they don't want to come and testify in court. So
okay.
because of that, that's where we run into problems. That the prosecutors won't take it unless the person.
Somebody's, okay. But technically, I mean, they're supposed to see them light it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you can arrest. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And then we have a promotion ceremony on January 22nd coming up, and that'll be for sergeants and lieutenants, and that's going to be, is it still at the Peacocky Room? The Peacocky Room at Blaisdell at 10:30 still. We are working on this. I sent the survey down to our management analysts, so we're going to be taking a look at that and see how we can massage that or manipulate that to see what the outcome that we're looking at for the survey. And also what we're going to bring back.
Excuse me, Chief.
I'm
Are you
sorry.
talking about the May 2017 one? Is that what you have?
The one that Commissioner Gibson gave us.
Oh, that
Yeah,
one. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
And also, too, we're going to be bringing back the retiree banquet. They did away with it during Police Week for the last 2 or 3 years. We're going to be bringing it back, but we're probably going to be looking at either August 11th or August 18th. And the reason being is that if we try to do it on May 19th, during Police Week, that's actually the start of all the graduation ceremonies. So we figured that there'd probably be a lot of conflicts with families and wouldn't be able to attend. So what we're looking at for the retiree banquet is not just going to be for the retirees, the HPD retirees that left this year. We want to start doing at least once a year. We'll see how it goes this year, where we ask all the retirees, anyone who's ever retired from HPD, to come and let's try and bring some of these people back together again. Because since I've taken over as the chief, I've gotten so many calls and so many responses from the other retirees that want to help, that want to do things. And so I think it would be nice to bring them all together, and we can learn a lot from each other too. It was kind of interesting. One of the retirees was down at our museum. He brought his grandkids down to the museum to have the grandkids go around. And the officer from CAD, our Community Affairs, that was doing the presentation to the grandkids, it was kind of cute because he was talking about something, and it was actually one of the first intoxilizers. I think it was called a drunkometer or something. And this retiree knew more about it than anyone else, and so he was explaining to the CAD officer how it worked and what they did, and a lot of other history that they never knew about that we now are privy to because of this retiree. So so that's one of the things that we're looking at doing. We do need to secure funding for this somehow, and obviously it'll have to be through a gift to the city. So that's one of the things that we'll be working on.
How does this give to the city work? Like, if somebody wants to support this, how do we go about?
All you need to do is, if however much, or whether it would be monetary or
Right.
any other type of items that might be wanted donated to the banquet, then you would just donate it to HPD, and then HPD actually does what we call a gift to the city. So it's like a letter that we go to the city council, and we ask the city council to accept this gift on behalf of HPD, given by whatever the company is.
Takes a little while. A little lead time.
Yeah.
That's a hairball. Why do we make it so
Yeah.
so difficult to give? I'm
Yeah.
like thinking, but it's really a good idea to bring the community together. I think it's a good idea. But is there a website? How do we know when to start the process, and how do we learn about this?
Well, when we set the affirmative
August.
date, then
Right.
we'll probably, there's several like social media. There's a former police officer
I see.
website. We can go through the Blue Light, which is the newsletter that's sent out.
Which
I
is
think
like to
quarterly.
know.
Right, and then obviously I can let you
Let us
folks know and stuff too. So
That would be
and,
good.
and then we have Keys and Whistles Club, which is the Old Timers Club. So we'll try and get the word out that way as well.
I see.
So yeah.
That
So
would be a very
basically,
meaningful
so
event.
basically you work backwards from when the event is and when the council meets.
Right, correct.
And that's the key date, is when
Yeah.
the council meets, so
Right.
that they have to approve
Okay,
that. So
so
you
that's
go
a-
back from there,
That's a
then that's the
process.
paperwork,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, that's pretty much all I have for
Okay,
today.
any questions for the chief?
Not a question, but just an offering. I've learned to listen to my kids. They're very wise. And last week, my daughter sent me an article from The Atlantic, November 25, 2017, just because it's interesting. The title is "The Baltimore Cops Studying Plato and James Baldwin." It has to do with a creative aspect of in-house training that they're using in Baltimore at the initial behest of a police lieutenant who himself had training in the classics and literature. It's food for thought, so I thought I'd give you a copy and you can do whatever you want with it.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, chief. We have approval for the minutes of the open session of
Thank you.
December 6th, Commissioner Chang?
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the open session of December 6, 2017. Any comments?
Okay, the motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
The motion's been made and
Motion
second.
made, yeah.
Discussion? Okay, hearing none?
Approved?
Okay, all
That's
those in
great.
favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Motion approved?
Yep.
Carried.
Okay, we have open for public testimony. Do we have anyone signed up?
No.
We don't have anybody signed up? Oh, okay, very good. All right, we're on to new business. Commissioner Levinson.
An opening thank you to Aaron. This is a report on actions taken at the executive sessions of October 4, 18, 23, 2017, and November 15, 2017. At the executive session of October 4, 2017, the Commission approved the September 7, 2017 executive session minutes. At the executive session of October 18, 2017, Commissioners approved the September 20, 2017 executive session minutes and took action on 7 cases involving 7 officers. Complaint number 17-031 involved 1 complainant and 1 officer. The complaint of discourtesy/harsh remarks, conduct unbecoming an officer, and unnecessary use of force were sustained. Complaint number 17-032 involving 1 complainant and 2 officers. The complaint of conduct unbecoming an officer against each officer was sustained for 1 officer and not sustained for the other officer. Complaint number 17-044 involved 1 complainant and 1 officer. The complaint of conduct unbecoming an officer was not sustained. Complaint number 17-045 involved 1 complainant and 1 officer. The complaint of conduct unbecoming an officer was not sustained. Complaint number 17-052 involved 1 complainant and 1 officer. The complaint of overbearing conduct was not sustained. Complaint number 17-053 involved 1 complainant and 1 officer. The complaint of conduct unbecoming an officer was not sustained. Complaint number 17-058 involved 1 complainant and 1 officer. The complaint of threatening was not sustained. During the continuation of the October 18 executive session that took place on October 23, 2017, Commissioners discussed the selection process for the Chief of Police. During the executive session of October 23, 2017, which continued through October 25, 2017, Commissioners interviewed candidates for the position of Chief of Police. During the executive session of November 15, 2017, Commissioners approved the August 2, 2017 executive session minutes. I move that the report that I just gave be accepted by the Commission.
Do we have a motion? We have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, Commissioners. Okay, and we're on to item 7, which is the public hearing for the revision of the Commission rule on Rule 10 and 11.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
can we take a 5-minute break so the court reporter can set up?
Oh, we have a court reporter. Oh, okay, sorry. All right, we'll take a short recess here. Yeah, me too.
Something doesn't get off that easy. What's your favorite seat?
It's my favorite seat over there. Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right.
No, you know what I use when I start getting scratchy throat? Zycam.
I heard.
Yeah, Zycam, like every 4 hours spray. It kind of messes up your taste bud, but then what I do is I suck on a sugar-free Halls, and it takes away that gnarly taste. Yeah, but I swear by that stuff. Like 2 days.
When there's nothing worse than that feeling. when
Oh.
you
Yeah,
feel like you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
die, you
yeah,
just feel helpless.
yeah,
You
yeah,
become really sick.
Absolutely.
Seriously, by parents.
Okay.
I would hope that.
Yeah, and I started doing that
And he can say yes.
3 years ago or so.
Well,
digital
And boy, I tell you,
Okay, so
as soon as I feel
later
that
I can
thing,
email it to you. If you can tell Nick to
I'll
email
even
me
get
when
up in the
done.
middle of the
But
night,
the digital
4
is
hours,
going to be a
and spray
PDF
that
of
thing.
this.
Keep some on hand.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
can
by my
just do
bedside,
it.
man.
You can do it
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
I didn't want to take a copy.
No, it's okay because I can make copies for them.
The spray, they have different like lozenges and stuff, but I found the spray is the best.
Yeah.
We're good? All right. Honolulu Police Commission, regular meeting is back in session. We're now on item 7, which is the public hearing for proposed amendments to Rule 10 and 11. The commission has proposed an amendment to the rules of the Honolulu Police Commission and has undertaken rulemaking pursuant to HRS Section 91-3. My apologies, that's right, you have... Go ahead, you had
That's
an
okay.
introduction.
That's okay. Before we get started, I just want to introduce a couple of people. This is Major Alan Nagata. He's actually acting assistant chief for Central Patrol Bureau. He's the one that was. Could you? He's so shy. So anyway, him and Captain Takasaka Young, who is currently acting major up in PSO, were the two who were very instrumental in supporting Mike Lambert in getting this program moving
Yes.
forward.
Thank
So-
you.
Welcome.
Good job,
Absolutely
really.
great.
And the second person I want to introduce, I know I only said one, but I'll say second, so he doesn't have to, poor guy. This is Lieutenant Mark Crescio. He's going to be going up to the 4th floor and working for the chief's office. Roddy Vanek, who was there before, got promoted to major, and he's assigned to ITD. So Mark's going to be taking his place, and one of his responsibilities will be like liaison for the officers. So he'll be going out talking with the officers to find out, you know, what's going on with them, what thoughts they have, what ideas, because obviously they won't talk to me, you know, because they,
It's very smart.
you know, for whatever reason, you know, but figured he's got a friendly face, yeah, so they'll talk to
Everybody
him.
talks.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to introduce the two new
That's really
folks
great.
there. So,
Nice meeting
thank
you.
Thank you, Chief. I was going to test the resolve by having them sit down while I read this whole thing, but that's what we'll...
Yeah, well, that's why I want to introduce them first. If they
And
wanted to go, you guys.
so the first one to stand up and run off is
Yeah,
your
yeah.
first major. All right, continuing on, the purpose of the proposed amendment is to, 1, revise Rule 10 to conform to the changes related to the discipline and termination of the Chief of Police as set forth in Section 6-1603 of the revised Charter of the City and County of Honolulu as amended on November 8, 2016. And 2, to clarify Rule 11 with respect to Hawaii Revised Statute Sections 52D-A and 52D-9. And 3, to provide that the hearings conducted under Rule 11 will generally be open to the public. Today, the Commission is prepared to accept and consider any public testimony and take action as appropriate. Copies of the relevant materials are available for anyone who wants it, and I believe it's on the table at this point. So, with that being said, do we have any written testimony? No? Okay. Do we have any oral testimony or people to sign up to testify?
No.
No? Okay. With
I'm sorry, real quick.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
The Civil Beat Law Center for the Public Interest submitted
What?
written testimony today.
Oh,
It would have
okay.
been submitted this morning to the commission's email. We're sorry, it was a little last minute with the holidays. And we've
Okay.
also been sick. But I'm not sure if that
We didn't get
came
it.
through. Okay.
Well, if you would, do you know what's in the letter?
It's a clarification regarding the Garrity rights and the Garrity standards. We just wanted to basically provide comments in support of the changes for Rule 11 and clarify that the Garrity standard applies regardless of
Oh.
the commission's ability.
Okay, so you're in, Civil Beat is in support of the changes?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be noted on the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, with that being also been said, I'll accept the motion to accept the amendments.
Oh, so moved.
Oh, so-
moved.
so- And it's been second? Okay. Any discussion? No, we have no discussion? Very good. All right.
Oh, we've had lots.
We have tons of
We have
discussion.
had-
That's why I figured that we wouldn't have any. So with that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you. So the amendment rules will be forwarded to Corp Counsel for approval of form and legality, and then to the mayor for signature. Once signed, the rules will be filed with the city clerk and will become effective 10 days after filing. Okay? With that, thank you very much, commissioners. And we move on to unfinished business. We have the discussion of performance goals and evaluation criteria for the chief. I believe we have been in discussion with the chief, and you have in front of you did everybody have this?
Yes, we have it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
The red is the added, the highlighted red is what we had suggested to add to the performance evaluation.
Oh, very good.
Okay, we're open for any further comments.
Yes. I believe it was Dan who put this together. Yes. He makes a notation under the managerial portion, which is basically the second major category for evaluation, regarding the execution of the chief's action plan, which would be attached to the performance evaluation as attachment A. And he makes the parenthetical observation that alternatively, the commission could consider adding a complete new section if the commission would like to weight this particular item more heavily. My own inclination at the moment is that the matter of the chief's action plan is a significant matter and could well, I think the evaluation process would benefit from its being recognized as being on an equal footing with the general categories of leadership, management, budget and fiscal, training and development, communication and community relations, and the police commission. And so, and in light of the fact that I don't think a whole lot of additional drafting would be required, I think it would be well for it to be its own category, worded as it is now, but as a category on an equal footing with all of the others.
So you were saying that we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories?
If that's what it is.
Okay,
or more.
yeah, it would be 7.
Yeah, I would agree with that when she went over all her points a month and a half ago, I guess it was. I thought that was very helpful, and I think that should be the lead, which everything falls off of. I think
Oh,
that's a
okay.
great idea.
Commissioner Chang, any? We're in discussion.
I should
Yeah.
add, I have some very minor, non-substantive editing suggestions, which I can get together with Dan on later.
Yeah, the discussion is to have page 3, the action plan have its own page, so to speak, on the evaluation. And probably, as suggested by Commissioner Gibson, be the lead page, since it kind of everything falls
Absolutely.
behind that. Okay?
Fine with that.
Make that known? So, okay. Any other, other than editorial changes that Commissioner Levinson is talking about?
They're they're not substantive.
Oh, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, they're very good. Dan, you can, so noted, and then we'll get together with Chief after it's done and formalize it up. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Okay, next is consideration for request for legal counsel for the following. Officer Kendall Wong, civil number 17-1-0233-02 ECN. Can we take this individually? Take it individually? Okay. Entertain a motion to accept. The motion is recommendation is that the request for legal counsel be granted.
So,
I'm sorry, whose recommendation?
That's the Corp Counsel's recommendation.
I'd rather couch the issue in a different form. We have received input from the Office of the Corporation Counsel. It contains a recommendation. As I've indicated before, and for reasons that we'll no doubt be discussing in the future, I don't regard that document as being subject to any kind of attorney-client relationship or other confidentiality, but in any event, we have been provided with a copy of the complaint in this matter, and based on the allegations set forth in the complaint, namely that the plaintiff alleges that she was physically assaulted in the course of interaction with a Honolulu Police Department officer, namely Officer Wong, and by the very nature of the allegation, the act being an act performed in the performance of duty in a police officer, I'm satisfied that that the officer has met his burden in demonstrating entitlement to representation or to legal representation at the expense of the city and county, and I therefore move that his request for legal representation be granted.
Okay, motion's been made. Do we have a second?
second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The second request for legal counsel is for Sergeant Zane Hamrick, USDC civil number 17-00461 LEK-RLP. Will I entertain a motion to grant the request, request be granted?
I've had an opportunity to review the civil complaint filed by Robert M. Bucknam against the city and county of Honolulu and the requesting officer, Zane Hamrick, in the United States District Court for the District of Hawaii. That's civil number 17-00461 LEK and RLP. And having reviewed the factual allegations in the complaint, particularly the allegation that the defendant, Officer Hamrick, as a Honolulu police officer, falsely arrested, searched, falsely imprisoned the plaintiff and refused him medical treatment, and used excessive and unreasonable force in arresting, detaining, and imprisoning him, and those allegations occurring in the context of acts done in the performance of duty as a police officer, without passing judgment on the truth or falsity of any of the allegations, I'm satisfied that Officer Hamrick has met his burden under Chapter 52D and therefore move that his request for legal representation be granted.
Okay, the motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. And the final request for legal counsel is for Officer Harry C. Burt, civil number CC 17-1-1591. And would like to entertain a motion for that to be granted.
I have a motion. The commission has now been provided with a copy of the complaint filed in the Circuit Court of the First Circuit State of Hawaii by Robert T. Covington Jr. against the requesting officer, Harry C. Burt. I've had a chance to review the factual allegations of the complaint. The complaint alleges interaction between the plaintiff and Officer Burt in the context of his driver's license, arrest, search, and handcuffing without a warrant, among other related factual allegations. Based on my review of the complaint, I'm satisfied that the complaint alleges acts done in the performance of duty as a police officer by Officer Burt. I'm satisfied that by virtue of the complaint, Officer Burt has met his burden of demonstrating his entitlement to legal representation. I therefore move that his request for legal representation be granted.
Okay, we had a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Mr. Lawrence, you up?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. As of January 3, 2018, we have one case. So someone woke up early on January 2 and came in and filed a complaint. And there's still 5 pending cases from 2018 that will be closed out shortly. Just a short summary for 2017, number of cases was 75, 22 referred to PSO, closed by PSR 9, administratively closed 2, and withdrawn 1.
And how's the staff?
Right on.
All right, everybody healthy?
Everybody's healthy. They're
Okay.
back for a new year.
Okay, very good.
Could we
Yes.
return to the previous agenda item for just a moment?
Which is 8?
Which is 8-2,
8-2, okay.
A, B, and C. In addition to having received copies of the complaints filed in connection with each of the requests for legal representation, we have also received copies of the memoranda in each matter addressed or directed to Donna Leong as Corporation Counsel from Dan Lawrence as this commission's executive officer. I'm curious as to whether the form of these memoranda was ever determined in any formal way by the commission, or whether it's open for discussion.
Everything's open for discussion.
Yeah, well, you mean in terms of the
I'm
memorandum, the
talking about going
letterhead?
forward in future cases involving requests for legal representation and referrals to the Department of the Corporation Counsel.
Oh.
So I'd like to get together with you sometime soon to discuss that.
All right. We're in item 10. Commissioner Gibson.
Following agenda items will be reviewed in executive session pursuant to HRS 92-5A, subsections 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8, to consider the higher evaluation, dismissal, or discipline of an officer or employee, or of charges brought against the officer or employee where consideration of matters affecting privacy will be involved. To consult with its attorneys on questions and issues, matters affecting pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities to investigate. proceedings regarding criminal misconduct, to consider sensitive matters related to public safety or security, to deliberate or make a decision upon a matter that requires the consideration of information that must be kept confidential pursuant to state or federal law or a court order.
Motion
Motion
to go to executive session. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we are now in, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in executive session.